The first glimpse of her was not steel but pattern. Black and white, sharp as teeth, curving along the hull as though the ocean itself had sketched her outline. Huron, yet not the Huron that men had built. This one surfaced beneath a moon so pale it resembled bone. The waves around her carried no foam, only a shimmer as if light itself had drowned. She did not sail into view. She emerged like a predator breaking the surface, soundless except for the wet groan of water parting. To those who watched, she resembled something alive. Her bow carried the lean menace of a snout. The hull glistened slick, not with paint but with skin that seemed to drink starlight. Above her, antennae twitched like fins breaking air, and her wake curved in patterns too deliberate, as though traced by instinct. She was still destroyer by silhouette, yet every surface leaned toward another truth. The sea had claimed her, reshaped her, and sent her back as one of its own hunters. The transformation was not sudden. It bled slowly from the deck. Portholes blinked. Funnels pulsed as if gilled. Torpedo tubes dilated like jaws preparing to bite. The black and white motif was no longer camouflage. It moved, rippling in sync with the swell. Sailors swore they saw the paint slide, stripes migrating, forming eyes where none had been, watching the horizon with hunger. At times, her hull creaked like a ribcage inhaling, then settled into silence too heavy to be empty. Then came the echo of war. For Huron had history carved deep, yet here it replayed as feeding frenzy. Gunfire did not sound like shells but like clicks and shrieks of unseen creatures, echoing across fog. Torpedoes streaked into water and did not explode. They vanished, swallowed whole, reappearing elsewhere as geysers with no origin. Those who listened carefully said the detonations followed a rhythm, like a pod calling across leagues. Every flash on her decks seemed to be answered from the deep by streaks of phosphorescent light, as if her battles were chorused by a congregation of unseen hunters below. The crew that walked her decks were less men than shadows. Their movements had the unity of schooling fish, turning in unison, saluting in waves. Faces blurred into mask-like simplicity, two dark sockets, no mouth. When they shouted commands, no sound escaped, yet cannons obeyed, torpedoes loosed, hatches sealed. They were not sailors but echoes of sailors, silhouettes of duty preserved not in memory but in current. Lanterns glowed white-blue along the rails, shining downward as though meant for eyes far below the surface. And then the rupture, when sea and sky changed places. Huron dove without diving, slicing through air as though it were water. Clouds foamed and parted at her bow. Stars rippled outward in concentric rings, like minnows scattering. For a spanless interval she hunted in the sky, her guns firing into nothing, each muzzle flash bending constellations. Below, the ocean mirrored her, a second Huron inverted, jaws open wide. Those who witnessed this swore the destroyer became prey and predator both, a loop feeding upon itself. The revelation was simple yet ungraspable. Huron, Orca, was no longer ship alone but ritual. The sea had taken a vessel of steel and rewritten it as myth, proof that predators need not be flesh to feed. Mariners claim her wake lingers long after sight of her vanishes, a trail darker than water, glowing faint along edges, like teeth marks left upon the ocean. Even now, when storms coil off Pacific shores, fishermen hear a chorus beneath the waves, clicking, shrieking, pulsing. If they follow, they sometimes glimpse a pattern surfacing under moonlight, black and white curved into hunger. It is said those who stare too long see their reflections shift, faces striped, eyes blackened, mouths open in silent salute. And so the Black Maw endures. Not as steel alone, nor as predator alone, but as reminder. What man builds can be claimed, what war leaves can be rewritten, and what sails on the surface may always have another shape beneath.